In the headlines, ISWAP operatives kill police divisional officer in Borno. River Assembly impeaches Speaker. As minimum wage debates continues, Nigerians express mixed feelings over living standards. 20 people in intensive care after turbulent Singapore Airlines flight. Hello there, good evening and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. We begin in Borno State, where the divisional police officer of New Marite in Marite local government area of the state has been killed by members of the Islamic State of West Africa Province, ISWAP. According to reports, the divisional police officer, a superintendent of police, was killed on Monday night while defending the police station at the resettled community from the terrorists who snuck into the community on foot in the middle of the night. Confirming the development on Wednesday, the spokesperson of the Borno State Police Command, Nahum Kenneth, says the command is still gathering details of the attack. A military personnel serving in New Marite revealed that terrorists targeted one of the residents of the community who got a hint and ran to the police station for protection. The military personnel says the terrorists got into the town on foot without the usual motorcycles and vehicles. To Cross River State now, where in a dramatic turn of event, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Elvat Ekom Ayambem, has been impeached. The Speaker was impeached on Wednesday by 17 members of the State House of Assembly over allegations of misappropriation of funds. The impeachment motion was moved by Effiong Ekarika, representing Calabar South 1 constituency, and seconded by Omang Charles Omang, representing Bekwara State constituency. Now, the Speaker, who represents Ikom 2 State constituency, was elected Speaker of the 10th Cross River State House of Assembly back in June of last year.
Mr. Speaker, I am very aggrieved. That is the more reason that I, on the relation of America, representing Calabar South, constituency 1, based on that, I want to invoke section 92, sub 2C, for the removal of the Speaker of the Federal State. That's it. Now, I Mr. Oman, I represent the Speaker of the Federal. I hereby second the motion as
Well, in the meantime, the Outer Speaker of the Cross River State House of Assembly, Elvat Ayambem, has insisted that he still remains Speaker of the State Assembly. Ayambem was impeached by 17 out of the 25 members of the Cross River State House of Assembly during plenary on Wednesday. However, the Chief Press Secretary to the Speaker, Matthew Okache, in a statement hours later described what happened during Wednesday's plenary as a charade with no constitutional basis. He also says the House was not aware of any impeachment notice being served to anyone before what happened on Wednesday. Now, insisting that the impeachment and the replacement are speculative, Okache urged the public to dismiss the development. In neighboring River State, Governor Similalai Fubara has sworn in 8 new commissioner nominees that were screened by the State House of Assembly on Tuesday, charging them to cultivate the culture of keeping accurate records of their dealings in their various ministries. The governor maintained that such culture is essential for the effective functioning of any organized system, particularly the civil service, because they provide useful history of events, decisions, as well as actions of the government. Now, he did so in the government house hours after the assembly, led by Victor Okujumbo, had confirmed all 8 nominees for Governor Fubara. Now, the governor described as regrettable how some commissioners who had left the administration ignored the culture of proper documentation because they had no record of activities in the ministries they served. Governor Fubara enjoined them to emulate his work culture and pay attention to details, while adding that it should also reflect in the nature of records they keep. In other news, the tax evasion case involving Binance Holdings Limited and its executives has been stalled at the Federal High Court in Abuja due to the absence of a key staff member, Tegran Gambrayan. Gambrayan, a top Binance executive, was scheduled to appear in court for arraignment after being served with charges by the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and the Inland Revenue Service had sued the company for tax evasion, implicating Gambrayan and Nadeem Anjarwala, who fled the country in March this year. Binance faces a 4-count charge accused of failing to register with the FIRS to pay all relevant taxes. Now, the Federal Inland Revenue Service also alleges that while providing taxable services on its trading platform, Binance did not issue invoices to subscribers, hindering the determination and payment of value-added taxes. In Bauchi State, the zonal branch of the Academic Staff Union of Universities has accused the federal government of systematically dismantling public universities in Nigeria. During a protest rally at Gombe State University, the union also criticized the recent Student Loan Act, calling it a deception, as well as warning that it could exacerbate the already deteriorating conditions of Nigerian universities. Hassan Kohli has more.
The protest is coming after the federal government announced the constitution of governing councils for 111 federal public institutions. According to ASU, the government was never serious about fulfilling the signed agreement by the parties. They, however, faulted the newly introduced student loan and the dissolution of federal high school governing councils by the federal government.
Holding this protest in order to ventilate our anger over the refusal of the government, both the state and the federal government, to implement previous agreements reached with the union. So if government feels they have the funds to give student loans, why don't they divert this fund towards improving or repositioning our current tertiary institutions that are giving out loans? We are seeing this as an attempt by government to reduce funding of tertiary institutions. If you equate the school fees of tertiary and public institutions, like the other speakers have said, everybody will move to the private universities, and before you know it, public universities will die, just like the public secondary schools that we have.
The union called on the public to always justify their criticism on the university lecturers, saying the government is responsible for any harsh decision lecturers take.
Over a period of time, the Nigerian government is still not yet ready to, honor the agreement it entered with the union. So that is why we are doing everything possible to educate the general public, the student, parents, and almost everybody in the country that whatever decision our union decide to take, they should know who to blame. The only person in the position to avert this incidence of industrial disharmony is the federal government. They have everything in place to make sure that this problem is averted.
The university union said it will meet to decide on the next line of action as the 2-week ultimatum given to the federal government lapses next week. Hassan Kohli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
In other news, Nigerians have been expressing their views on the ongoing negotiations for a new national minimum wage in the country. Now, this is on the heels of the deadlocked negotiations between organized labor and the federal government over an acceptable amount. Habibat Ajayi has more.
The National Minimum Wage Committee meeting between organized labor representatives and the federal government ended in a stalemate. Labor unions criticized the federal government and private sector members for presenting what they called a ridiculous offer. to Nigerian workers. Economist Aliyu Ilyas advised the union to shift their focus from pursuing a higher minimum wage to fostering economic stability, arguing that this approach will help reduce inflation levels in the country.
It's quite nostalgia because for labor, I think they're asking for too much, 615,000. They should consider people that are not government workers. They should consider private sector, and they should consider the governors too, because governors will say they cannot pay. And also on the side of government, what they are offering is quite ridiculous, because with the purchasing power problem, now how can you say you are paying 54,000? If you look at our cost of living now, food is taking over 70% of our income. So if food is taking 70%, rent, school fees, transportation, and logistics is taking more. So I think they should all come together to have a particular stage. I understand that two of them are using their their bargaining power, and in the long run they will still come together. But I think going forward, if you even look at judiciary increment, it's about 300%. So if you calculate 300% of the current 30,000, to be around 120,000. So they should be looking at around 150, 200,000. I think that is what can better.
Nigerians have expressed dissatisfaction with the outcome of the labor meetings with the federal government.
Even though it's too much, let us look at those people distorting money from the post, from the treasury. One person alone is trillion. He can pay. Government can pay. What is much bargain? Make our citizens enjoy their wealth. We have oil, we have anything, natural resources, but let them enjoy it.
What I like in this government is they have listening ears, but I can see it still remain small to get to where labor are expecting. When somebody make provision for almost 5 something or 4 something, and you brought them back to 50 something, the distance is still, I think there's still room for negotiation.
The economic reforms of the Tinubu administration continues to take a toll on Nigerians, which has become the bane of the current negotiations for better and improved wage package. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Elsewhere, residents of Benue State are calling on the Nigerian Senate to ensure autonomy for local governments is achieved to help enable the third tier of government function effectively. The call follows the Senate's recent call on the president to facilitate local government autonomy in the country. According to the residents, the Senate can do a lot more to ensure that the objective is achieved. Jimmy Azande reports.
The security situation in the country is compounded. The healthcare delivery system in the country is not working, particularly at the local government level. The educational system, as we all know, particularly primary education, which is supposed to be the responsibility of the local government, they are no longer capable of carrying out these responsibilities because the resources that are coming are being cornered by the government, by the governors.
We'll go back to Section 7, where this local government controlled by governors is, which is on the joint state and local government account.
Benue residents believe that until local governments are administered autonomously, development at that level will be stifled due to undue influence.
That starting from 1999, when Obasanjo came into governance, he sort of scrapped or bastardized the local government system, because powers that were vested in the local government before his advent into governance were taken away from the local government chairman, and he tried to reduce the tenure of local government chairman from 4 years to 2 years in some cases, in some states, or to 3 years in some states.
In the pronouncement by the Senate recently, the residents say the Nigerian Senate should act according to the Constitution to save the third tier of government.
Because the power of legislation, lawmaking, lies in the National Assembly, pursuant to Section 4 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And if the National Assembly deems it fit to amend the Constitution, as well as the State Houses of Assembly passing the resolution that will guarantee the amendment of the Constitution that will give full autonomy to the local government, it is only when the President has refused to assent to it that the President can now be dragged into the whole issue.
The residents say the benefits of local government autonomy are numerous, hence the need to make it work in Nigeria.
The authority of government is closer to the people. And I think if they have their full autonomy, it will enable them provide the dividend of democracy, such as provision of water, roads, culverts, and other basic amenities to the people, the grassroots.
They believe that all stakeholders that need to work toward achieving this goal should unite for the sake of rural dwellers. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Still to come. Tragedy in Balsa as 7 died from carbon monoxide poisoning. Details of this and many more news stories up ahead in just a moment. Welcome back to the news. Let's take another look at our top stories. ISWAP operatives have killed a police divisional officer in Borno. In a dramatic scene, the Cross River State House of Assembly has impeached its speaker. Governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulum, has reiterated his commitment to transforming and improving the education sector in the state. Now, the governor disclosed this through the Deputy Governor of the state, Usman Kadafur, during the flag-off ceremony of the Phase 2 training of 781 teachers in Bama local government area. Here's Trust TV's Beatrice Krusi with more on the story.
It would be recalled that 2 weeks ago, the state government launched the first training for 1,949 teachers in Biu local government. The program targets to train 2,730 teachers across the state, having conducted a competency test which saw 5,257 pass, with 6,227 teachers adjusted trainable, while 4,339 were found untrainable. The second phase teachers training in Umar ibn Ibrahim El Kanami College of Education of Bama will capture 781 teachers from 19 local government education authority. Stakeholders lauded the program and urged participants to cooperate with their mentors.
Authorization to the Ministry of Education to reassign all untrained personnel in the local government education authorities to alternative roles, freeing up positions for qualified individuals in the early years.
The first place was plank up, and today it is being plank up here in Bama. We want to say that the training, those that need the training also have the training, so that their salary can also be adjusted, which is what the ministry and the state government is doing now. We are happy for that.
Directing them to submit all lists of teachers and non-teaching staff that are due for promotion in their local governments on or before the 23rd of May 2023. And I would like us to know that so far, 5,408 teachers are enjoying the minimum wage based on their qualifications. I think we need to clap for this government.
Governor Zulum, represented by his deputy Usman Kadafur, said the initiative is part of the government commitment to improving education through better remuneration, training for teachers in line with national standards.
The program is free of charge, and each participant is entitled to 30,000 monthly stipend. In addition to their regular salaries, those enrolled in full-time NC program will automatically in-service status. On this note, let me use this medium and urge the participants to approach this opportunity with utmost dedication and seriousness, knowing fully well that successful completion of this program and passing the competency test will lead to a review of wages. To ensure adequate preparation, the Ministry of Education has been directed to release the additional sum of 50,000 naira to all participants.
After the 3-month training exercise, Participants will be captured into the minimum wage salary structure. Bechu Skuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
Now, at least 7 persons have died following an incident that occurred on Tuesday morning at a recording studio on Ebis Road, Amarata in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital. According to eyewitnesses, music artists, including popular musician Slim Kells, had gathered in the studio to record an album, but due to the absence of power supply, they decided to use a generator which they kept inside the studio due to security concerns. However, tragedy struck when the generator's carbon monoxide emissions suffocated the 7, killing them in the studio. Trust TV's Friday Ebimobo Peter tells us more.
According to a neighbor of one of the deceased artists, Bekele Jacqueline, the incident could have been avoided if there was a public power supply from the electricity distribution company.
This particular guy, this my neighbor, that is the pain inside me is the breadwinner of the family. This boy just died like that, 7 of them gone like that. It's so pathetic. Bayelsa State government should do something about NEPA. We have not gotten light for the past 3 weeks. And I'm telling the NEPA not to come near Ebis Mechanic Street to come and collect NEPA bill again. If they come, that is the pain in me, the pain in us here. They will go with, that is, they will see the other side of us. Because we are annoyed. We are not using light. NEPA should not come and take light bill. If there is light today, these boys would have not died.
The Bayelsa State Commissioner of Police, Aloyenu Idu, will confirm the incident and assure that the police are investigating the incident to unravel the cause of the death. However, blame the incident on negligence.
If it's anything that has to do with the fume, toxicologists to be able to extract the toxicity that made life incompatible with their bodies. But if it's another thing different from what everybody has suspected, the medical facilities we have here is capable of resolving. And if we are unable to get enough and sufficient hands to carry out the analysis, we will send to Lagos and Port Harcourt to have us a full closure to this incident. Our reaction will continue to be advisory to people who walk into the night. The generator is an outside instrument. It must be outside because it has fumes and it's highly toxic. And when there's no air, cross ventilation in an environment, it can suffocate. More so when you have this number of people in one room. So we're not jumping to conclusions yet until the analysis comes from the experts.
The incident has thrown the Nigerian music industry as well as the community into mourning, with many decrying the loss of talented and promising musicians. From Yenagoa, Friday Ebimobowe Peter, Trust TV News, Yenagoa.
And on the international scene, 20 people were in intensive care in Bangkok hospital on Wednesday after a terrifying high-altitude plunge on a flight from London, during which an elderly passenger died and more than 100 others were injured. Singapore Airlines flight SQ321 hit a sudden extreme turbulence over Myanmar 10 hours into its journey to Singapore on Tuesday, abruptly rising and plunging several times. One passenger said people were thrown around the cabin so violently they put dents in the ceiling during the drama, leaving dozens with head injuries. Photos from inside the plane shows the cabin in chaos, strewn with food, drinks, bottles and luggage, while oxygen dangled from the ceiling. Now, the plane carrying 211 passengers and 18 crew members made an emergency landing in Bangkok's airport, where medical staff used gurneys to ferry the injured to ambulances waiting on the tarmac. A 43-year-old British man died and 104 people were injured on the flight. A hospital in Bangkok said Wednesday its staff were treating or had treated 85 persons who have sustained injuries, including 20 persons who were currently in intensive care. Talking sports now, ahead of the preliminary rounds of the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup, the African football governing body, CAF, had issued a deadline to member associations, including Nigeria, to submit the list of their representatives. Now, CAF had initially informed member associations that the preliminary rounds will commence in August this year. According to an update from CAF headquarters in Cairo, Egypt, the football governing body has given the participating countries until June 15th, 2024 as the deadline to submit the names of the clubs that will represent the countries. The winners of the Nigeria Premier League football tournament, as well as the runners-up, will represent Nigeria in the CAF Champions League. The second runners-up and the President Federation Cup winner will play in the CAF Confederations Cup. Action will resume in the Nigeria Professional Football League this weekend after a month-long break. That's it. You're up to date with the latest news stories at this hour. Check back a little later at 9 for more news. But for now, follow us across our social media platforms to stay in touch, and also visit our website trusttv.com for the latest news and documentaries. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for your time.